Hello viewers, welcome to Khalajan's kitchen. I'm Farhanda and today I'm making a strawberry galette. Galette is a form of a pie, but it's easier to make than making a pie. And it can be either savory or sweet. To make the pastry, we need 1/4 cup of ice cold water, 1¼ cup of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, half a cup or 113 grams of very cold butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt. For the filling, I have 1 pound of fresh strawberries, which is about 450 grams, and after I cleaned them and sliced them, they came to about 3½ cups. Besides the strawberries, I have here 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 4 tablespoons of sugar, and for the egg wash, I have 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. I prepared the strawberries by taking the green parts out and cutting them into slices. You don't have to cut them into equal size slices. They can be thick or thin. It won't matter. I added 2 tablespoons of sugar to the strawberries. The sugar will help pull the moisture out of the strawberries, which we can drain later, and then we won't have a soggy galette. We will set the strawberries aside while we make our pastry. I am using a food processor to make the pastry, but it can easily be made by hand. Combine the flour, the salt, sugar, and the oil in the food processor by pulsing it for a few times. And now we will add the butter. I cut the butter into small cubes. We just have to make sure that the butter is very cold. At this time, we will also add the vinegar. We will combine the butter with the flour mixture by pulsing it a few more times until the size of the butter cubes is reduced to the size of a small pea. And this is how it will look like. Next, we are going to add the water. The water has to be ice cold, otherwise it will melt the butter. We are going to add the water a little at a time. First, I added 3 tablespoons, pulsed it for a few times. The dough hasn't come together, so then I added only 1½ tablespoons. We have to be very careful when we are adding the water because we do not want our dough to be too wet. After giving it a few more pulses, the dough has started to come together, and at this stage we are going to stop pulsing it anymore, otherwise the dough will become tough. Now we will take the dough out onto the counter and bring it together to form a small disc. We are not going to knead the dough. We will wrap the disc in a plastic wrap and let it rest in the fridge for at least half an hour. The strawberries have been resting for a while now and they have released a lot of their liquid. We will drain the strawberries and set the liquid aside. You can use this liquid by adding a little bit of cornstarch, cooking it, and then drizzle it on the finished galette. We will take the 2 tablespoons of the leftover sugar and add the 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to it. The cornstarch will act as a thickener. Mix the two together and then add them to the strawberries. I had left the dough in the fridge for too long, about 1½ hours, so I had to take it out and leave it on the counter for at least 10 minutes. To roll out the pastry and to stop it from sticking to the counter and the rolling pin, I dusted the counter and the rolling pin with some all-purpose flour. We will start rolling out the dough into a round shape until the thickness of the pastry is about 1/4 inch. Once the desired thickness is achieved, we are going to very carefully roll the dough onto the rolling pin and then transfer it onto the baking tray. I lined the tray with some parchment paper in order for it to catch up any spills if we have any during baking. Place the strawberry mixture in the center of the circle and then spread them so that we have about 2 to 2½ inches of the dough around it. We will start folding the crust around the strawberries very carefully, and as we are folding it, we will press down the joints so that they don't open while baking. Now it is ready for the egg wash. The egg wash will give it a very nice color. To make the egg wash, just add 1 tablespoon of water to the egg, beat it, and brush the edges with it. I preheated the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which comes to about 204 degrees Celsius and gas mark 6. It is going to take about 30 to 45 minutes for it to bake. We have to bake it until the center starts bubbling. The galette has been baking for 33 minutes, and as you can see, it is bubbling in the center and the crust has nice color. We will now shut the heat off, take it out and let it cool. It is extremely hot at this time and we have to cool it for at least half an hour to an hour. And there you have it. Our galette is now ready to serve. Today I'm serving it with some vanilla ice cream, but it also tastes good with some whipped cream. If you like this recipe, please give it a thumbs up and share. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe, and by pressing the bell icon button, you will get notifications for my upcoming videos. Enjoy!